Hey everybody, it's me, your favorite mystical person on the internet, here with another video for you guys. If you guys are new here, please subscribe to my channel. And yes, let's get into this video. In today's video, I'm going to basically talk about my experience with empowerment. Being empowered in oneself means like you're prioritizing self. You love yourself to where you're not going to allow anything outside of you, especially people, have authority over your energy and where it goes. For me, in my experience with this, basically, it's caused a lot of like upheaval in my personal relationships because I've dealt with a lot of people who are very controlling, very narcissistic, and I know that word is like thrown around way too much, but honestly, I've dealt with a lot of people who are very narcissistic. They just think that they have ownership over your energy. Really understanding who I am and how powerful I am and how valuable I am, I've learned to take back control over my energy. It's caused a lot of chaos in my personal relationships in the sense of enforcing more boundaries in my life and standing up for myself more, letting it be known that I'm the authority of myself. You don't have authority over me. And oh my goodness, like when you tell a narcissist this, like they start spazzing out, like like literally they just start freaking out. Really learning to work with that fear of putting boundaries, standing up for myself, because essentially that is a fear for a lot of people, especially in their personal relationships. Why? Because they kind of feel like a sense of like entitlement to you. There's always like this fear of like enforcing boundaries, because there's always this fear of like, oh my God, like I'm gonna come across like difficult, or they're just not gonna like me. Taking those fears and realizing like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Who cares? If me putting boundaries and standing up for myself, calling you out on stuff is gonna cause a breakdown in a relationship, then that's not a real relationship. That person doesn't really love you for who you really are and what it is that you need personally for yourself to feel safe and secure within yourself. That's step one. Like, really having ownership over that fear of taking authority over yourself, demanding respect and demanding those boundaries to be respected. One of the things that I had to learn along my journey to empower myself is embracing my differences with others and, learning how to change my perspective on my differences with others, because I used to always feel like really awkward or just really bad that I'm like just very different from a lot of people around me, and just and overall just very different from how society operates. And if you're watching this video, you most likely feel that way too. Embracing the fact that you're unique, you're you, and you were crafted by God in a very unique way. And it's like you need to celebrate that. You need to be proud of that and not letting others make you feel bad about that. Even your relationships will come into question for this. Like literally, like you'll encounter a lot of people in your life, especially the people closest to you, that they don't really love you for you. Like in order for them to love you or even have a relationship with you, you have to be a whole nother person. Okay, so it's like, it's really asking that question of how important are these relationships in my life as opposed to the relationship for myself, right? How important are they? Because it's like, when you really think about it, if first of all, they're basically telling you that they don't care about you, they don't love you anyways. So with that being said, it's like there's no reason to be anything else besides you, and also prioritize the relationship with yourself. Take your losses when it comes to relationships, because a lot of people are gonna try to suppress you. A lot of people are gonna try to have you rearrange yourself so they could feel comfortable, because you make them uncomfortable. You make them feel triggered inside because you do things differently. You do things that they wish they had the strength and the power to do. You're very triggering to people. So these are the same people who are going to tell you, oh, like, you should be this way, or I don't like that you're this way. Like, you need to change, and No, you don't. You need to maintain your relationship with yourself. You need to love yourself. You need to see the beauty within yourself. If somebody else can't see and appreciate the beauty within you for just you being you and you being different, then that's not somebody that you need to have a relationship with, and that's not somebody that you need to compromise your relationship with yourself with. So learning how to take those L's when it comes to your relationships, even if it's like a really personal relationship, it could be a close friend, it could be a family member, it doesn't matter. Prioritizing yourself and your emotional and mental well-being is definitely another key thing to your empowerment. Okay. And this is like the part of spirituality that a lot of people don't talk about. Okay. Because we could sit up here all day and be like, yeah, self-love and, love thyself and, glamorize the whole thing. But nobody talks about what it truly means when you're really living in your truth. Like, as far as what the process looks like when you're actually initiating these things in your life. It's complete chaos. It's a mess. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of breakups. So it's not pretty like people make it seem. Do you get to a sense of peace and happiness within yourself? Yes. Especially once you make peace with the fact that you can't make everybody happy and not everybody is going to be happy for you or want the best for you or see you at your highest and best self. That's really what it means to do the shadow work. That's really what it means to do the inner work. And don't get me wrong, we're all spiritual, whether you're aware of it or not. But people who are really taking the journey serious will understand that it's not all glitz and glamour, like how people who are more so in the side of spirituality where they're like love and light, they're really not talking about the back end of stuff, like the emotional pain and grief that you go through when you're initiating a lot of these philosophies in your life. So building on top of that, I had to learn how to shift my perspective, because going back to what I was saying earlier, I used to feel very bad about being this very different kind of person, especially growing up. This is what makes me beautiful. This is what makes me special. You know what I'm saying? Learning how to change my perspective from being a victim, getting out of that victim mentality, you know what I'm saying? As far as like feeling like, oh my God, nobody understands me, nobody, likes me, and getting out of that narrative and realizing that, okay, yeah, maybe some people don't mess with me like that, but there are many other people that will learn. There are many other people that will love, appreciate me, and see the beauty in me, and, find value in me, because that is very much so true. And that's something that I learned too. It's about mainly how you feel about yourself. So getting to a place where it's like realizing like, I'm not a bad person. Nothing's wrong with me. Making peace with the fact that you're going to be the evil villain in a lot of people's lives, especially going back to the people that are closest to you. You're going to be the evil villain in their life. Okay, just by merely just being different from them. It could be as simple as like, okay, they like the color blue and you like the color red. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then that is going to cause like a breakdown in a relationship. Just petty stuff. Like, honestly, I was so shocked to even like see this be revealed to me in my life, how petty people are, to how quick people will flip the script on you just because you just have minor differences. Either minor differences or even big differences, but a lot of the time it's minor stuff. It's stuff that they themselves haven't got to a place in themselves to be accepting and open to other people. You don't have to agree, but understanding that people are different from you. You know what I'm saying? People have a different upbringing. People have different experiences than you. I had to realize that about a lot of the people around me, that they're very stubborn and they really operate from a space of, well, I grew up this way, so I don't really understand it when somebody else behaves in a whole nother way. Like, it makes absolutely no fucking sense, honestly. That's just not how life works, and that is just not how it works when it comes to relating with others. Making peace with the fact that you're gonna be the evil villain in other people's life, okay? Like, people are just gonna write you off as this bad person, but again, not allowing that to put you in a victim mentality or make you feel shame within yourself or guilty or bad about yourself, but realizing that and realizing how petty that is and taking that same negativity and transmuting it into your empowerment. Embracing the fact that, wow, like, that's really interesting how me simply being me and just having differences from you, that causes you to have hate in your heart. That causes you to, feel the need to outcast me or whatever the case may be. And finding power in that just you being you makes people upset. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even like you're disrespecting them. It's not like you're being rude to them. You're not doing anything. You're just being you. You know what I'm saying? You just are who you are. You like what you like. You have your dislikes and you're your own individual. And if that makes somebody mad, that's power. You know what I'm saying? That's power. And now you see how the roles change, where it's like, now you're the one with the power in your hands, but it's not even about having power over others. It's really about having power over yourself. So the next time you feel outcasted, you feel like you don't belong somewhere, you feel like you're not accepted, you're not understood, whatever the case may be, it's all for your highest good. This is not something happening to you, it's happening for you, for your highest good. And what I learned in that moment, when I felt those feelings of feeling outcasted, misunderstood, and things of that nature, God is aligning me to where I'm meant to be. So it's like, if you don't feel like you belong somewhere, or like you're just having trouble being in certain spaces because of just the person you are, then that means that that space is not meant for you and you're meant to be elsewhere, and you're being redirected where you're meant to be. You're being aligned to where you're meant to be. You're being aligned to your highest and best self. You're being aligned to your purpose. Okay? So people who have experienced being outcasted, oftentimes they have a very big purpose. They're not meant to live a regular menial life. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're destined for greatness in this life. So keep that in mind. So this is how I kind of reprogram my brain to realize, like, you're not a victim. You're somebody that's very powerful. You're not a victim to people's stories and opinions about you. Like, something that I learned is not taking on people's opinions as truth. And once you realize that they have their perspective and opinions and you have your own, that made a world of a difference to me, because everybody's living in a different reality. So the next time somebody tries to impose their opinion on you about you, the easiest way to shut down that conversation is that that's not true for me, and that is true for you, which is fine. You have no control over what the person thinks, right? And you just leave it at that. I know what's true for me. I know who I am, and this is what's true for me, and that's all that matters. Boom. End of argument. Literally, it works every time, trust me. Really changing your perspective on what it means to be outcasted is actually not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. People make it seem like it's a bad thing, but it's really not a bad thing. And once you change the way you see it, you'll stop feeling like a victim. You realize how much freedom you have. You freed yourself from society's standards. You freed yourself from people's opinions of you. This allows you to be very creative. When you are in your power, you could be your best creative self, and you have the freedom to create whatever it is that you want in your life. Why? Because you have authority over your life. You are responsible for creating your life, and you're not leaving it in the hands of other people or things external of you. Really embracing that freedom, when you finally accept yourself, you love yourself, you know yourself for the most part. Of course, we're multidimensional beings. There's always so much to learn about ourselves. But for the most part, you have a good relationship with yourself, you value yourself, you have high self-esteem. This gives you so much freedom. Why? Because you've cut away a lot of the external bullshit and even over identifying yourself through the lens of the external. You're now working internal, okay? And when you're working internal, this is the source of where all your power lies, your internal world, working through your shadow, working through your fears, working through all of that internally is going to get you to a place where you're free, like genuinely free. You're not allowing the darker sides of yourself to manifest through the external and have control over you. You know what I'm saying? So once you get to that place, you have the freedom to create whatever you want. And that is having true authority over yourself. Transmuting your fears of sticking out. That's a big one. That's a big fear that I've struggled with. I'm pretty sure you struggle with if you're watching this video and you're trying to figure out, how do I get to a place where I feel more empowered within myself? Well, the first thing is overcoming that fear of being in the spotlight or just kind of standing out because you're different. You know what I'm saying? Once you overcome that fear, it's going to transmute itself into confidence and self-love, to where that's all you want to be is just you. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if that makes you stick out in a certain way to other people. What matters is, like, do I feel like I'm myself? You know, you want to get to a place where you love yourself so much that you don't want to be anybody else. I've gotten to a point where it's like I love myself so much to where it's like I don't want to be anybody else. I don't want to live up to anybody's expectation. I don't want to live through other people's narrative. Like, I just want to be, because why? I love being me. Because it's like, that is what makes me beautiful. Like, the fact that I'm just my own unique individual that thinks differently, does things differently. I have a different path. You just embrace the fact that you're just different, and that's going to make you stand out. And transmuting that fear of standing out and being in the spotlight for things, whether you're in the spotlight for good or bad reasons, that really just depends on how it's filtering through from the other side. You know what I'm saying? But really, just you being okay with just being you is really the key to being truly empowered. Okay, so really the key to finding your empowerment is to face your fears of being seen, face your fears of being different, face your fears of owning your truth, standing up for yourself, putting those boundaries. Those are a lot of the things that are the source to your empowerment within yourself, being sovereign within yourself. Once you overcome the fear of doing these things and putting these things into practice in your life, empowered. So that is all I have for this video. I hope you guys found this helpful. Leave your comments down below. Let me know your experience with empowerment. Let me know how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.